Senate will please come to order. Pursuant to JRS 29, I hereby open the 2024 adjourned session of the Senate and call the Senate to order. Today's devotional exercises will be conducted by Reverend Devin Thomas, Ascension Lutheran Church of South Burlington. Welcome.
Sisters and brothers, members of the Senate, if you'll please join me in a blessing before you do the work of the state here this day. May the spirit of peace be with this legislative body as you do the work of the people this day. May it help keep you cool, both in these cool months and as things get heated through the year, both figuratively and climate-wise. May a spirit of stewardship watch over you as you look out for brothers and sisters within the state who are struggling through climate change, flooding, and changing weather. May a spirit of compassion be with you as you lift up those who wrestle with poverty, homelessness, drug addiction, and seek safety from violence. May a spirit of cooperation be with you as you share your talents that bring you here today to do the work of the people. And may, above all, a spirit of love and dedication bless you this day as you stand up as leaders of this state and do the work of its people. Amen. Amen.
I was going to make an announcement to remind people about their phones during announcements, but apparently I need to make it sooner than that. Please silence your phones. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back. Good to see you in the podium again. Good to see everyone around the room. I always feel a sense of our common strength when we're back together, and we're going to need that this year. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows the off session was not a normal off session. So as you know, we had emergencies of various kinds around the state, from flooding to public safety to the opiate epidemic, which is very much still with us. So our range of choices are going to be a little narrower this year than they were last year. And yet we're going to have to think bigger about how to avoid and mitigate climate change and flooding. We're going to have to dig deeper, and we're going to have to balance the budget, which we always do. So our challenges are going to be tougher. We're going to have to work harder. But I have every faith in this Senate, in the General Assembly, and in our Vermont form of government that we can handle these things. So with that said, welcome back, everyone. And I just want to give you a few heads up about some things that we'll be doing now and tomorrow. So a couple of things. You'll notice on your desk there are resolutions, among which will be resolutions that allow us to continue the virtual participation that we had last year, both in committees and on the floor. So just to remind you, the virtual participation for the floor, if there is a medical emergency, and the whys and wherefores are specified in the resolutions, you would have 2 days where you can Zoom in, participate and vote. After 2 days, you would need the assent of the Rules Committee. And the Rules Committee, in my view of it, has not received any complaints about these new regulations, and we don't see any cause for concern. That's why they're coming forward to you to be re-upped today. And once that's in place, everyone will have those possibilities open to them again. The other thing that you will see on your desk is a new disclosure form, Senate disclosure form. It is designed to mirror almost exactly the form that you filled out for the Secretary of State. So it wouldn't be new information, it's just the form has been modified a bit to be a Senate form rather than a Secretary of State form. That will be on notice and we'll take it up tomorrow, but the form is there for you to look at. Tomorrow you'll receive a copy of your disclosure that you filed with the Secretary of State, so that if you want for convenience, you can just transfer the information, or if you need to update it, you can do that as well. So I believe that should take care of any questions about the resolutions that will be coming forward. There'll be a little flurry of them, but those are the things I thought you needed some advance notice. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Are there any further announcements? By way of announcement, I've got a couple. First, Happy New Year, everyone. Second, we have 7 pages with us. 2 are in the room right now. In the room, we've got Avery Howe of Williston and Stuart Lemna of Stowe, but we do have 5 others that I'm sure you'll see around the building. Of course, welcome them. Third was my original time. I was going to remind both senators, but also guests, to please turn off your phones and not use electronic devices in the chamber. And fourth is a little bit lighthearted. For the 3rd time in my involvement up here over the last 5 years, I received in the mail a tolls notice by someone who was driven through a toll and not paid their toll. And none of those 3 times it was me. So once it was someone who is no longer with us in Senate seat 10. Once was a House member in House seat 2. And through the systems of DMV, they always sent them to me. And so if you happen to be Senate seat 2, please see me later. Great. With that, I will move on. I have a referral of gubernatorial appointments. We have 40 appointments for referral. This stack right here, I'm going to give them right back. They will be referred to their respective committees and will be listed tomorrow in tomorrow's journal of today's proceedings. We have a joint resolution for reading and adoption, JRS 31. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 31. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the 2 houses adjourn on Friday, January 5, 2024, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, January 9, 2024.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and you've adopted JRS 31. We now have a joint resolution for consideration, JRS 32. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 32. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the 2 houses meet in joint assembly on Thursday, January 4, 2024, at 2:00 in the afternoon to receive the state of the state message from the governor.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and you have adopted JRS 32. We now have for consideration JRS 33. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 33. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the 2 houses adjourn on Friday, March 1, 2024, or Saturday, March 2, 2024, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, March 12, 2024.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and you have adopted JRS 33. We have a current Senate Resolution for concurrently conducted electronic committee meetings. Senate Resolution 12. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate, notwithstanding the language in permanent Senate Rule 32A, limiting the applicability of Senate Rule 32A to declarations of emergencies, the provisions of permanent Senate Rule 32A regarding committee meetings shall be in effect through Friday, March 1, 2024.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and you've adopted Senate Resolution 12. We now have Senate Resolution 13 for electronic participation in Senate sessions. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate that temporary Rule 9BB be amended as follows. Rule 9B, temporary rule regarding electronic participation in Senate sessions. Subsection B, this temporary rule shall remain in effect through Friday, old language, January 5, 2024, new language, March 1, 2024.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and you've adopted Senate Resolution 13. We now have a joint resolution for updating the Senate disclosure forms, SR 14. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
SR 14, Senate resolution relating to updating the Senate disclosure form.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. This resolution will be put on the calendar for notice for action in due time. We have 5 bills for referral under temporary rule 44A. These have already been introduced. They failed to make crossover under temporary rule 44A are now released from the committee and are referred as following. Senate Bill 79, an act relating to limitations on hospital liens, will be referred to the calendar for notice. Senate Bill 148, an act relating to childcare and early childhood education, will be referred to appropriations under Rule 31. H21, an act relating to landlord notice of utility disconnections, will be referred to the Committee on Finance. H81, an act relating to fair repair of agricultural equipment, will be referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. H469, an act relating to allowing remote witnesses and explainers for a Ulysses Clause and an advance directive, will be referred to the Committee on Health and Welfare. We now have 52 Senate bills for introduction, and I'd like to recognize the senator from Chittenden North.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that the rules be suspended and that all Senate bills being introduced and read for the first time today be read by number only.
Now, the senator from Chittenden North has moved that the Senate bills being introduced and referred today be read by number only. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and the bills will be read by number only.
S-158,
Committee on Judiciary,
S-159,
Committee on Government Operations,
S-160,
Committee on Finance,
S-161,
Committee on Government Operations,
S-162,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S-163,
Committee on Judiciary,
S-164,
Committee on Finance,
S-165,
Committee on Judiciary,
S-166,
Committee on Finance,
S-167,
Committee on Education,
S-168,
Committee on Education,
S-169,
Committee on Education,
S-170,
Committee on Education,
S-171,
Committee on Education,
S-172,
Committee on Education,
S-173,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S-174,
Committee on Judiciary,
S-175,
Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs,
S-176,
Committee on Judiciary,
S-177,
Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs,
S-178,
Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs,
S-179,
Committee on Government Operations,
S-180,
Committee on Finance,
S-181,
Committee on Finance,
S182,
Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs,
S183,
Committee on Government Operations,
S184,
Committee on Transportation,
S185,
Committee on Government Operations,
S186,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S187,
Committee on Transportation,
S188,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S189,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S190,
Committee on Judiciary,
S191,
Committee on Education,
S192,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S193,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S194,
Committee on Government Operations,
S195,
Committee on Judiciary,
S196,
Committee on Judiciary,
S197,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S198,
Committee on Government Operations,
S199,
Committee on Finance,
S200,
Committee on Education,
S201,
Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs,
S202,
Committee on Education,
S203,
Committee on Education,
S204,
Committee on Education,
S205,
Committee on Health and Welfare,
S206,
Committee on Government Operations,
S207,
Committee on Education,
S208,
Committee on Judiciary,
S209.
Committee on Judiciary. I believe you all have a list on your desk that may reflect that, if that was a little bit quick. I believe that brings us to the orders of the day, of which there are no orders of the day. So I'd like to recognize the senator from Chittenden Central. My apologies.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pending announcements, I would move that the Senate stand in adjournment until Thursday, 1 p.m. Thank you.
Now, the Senate moves that pending, are there any announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Health and Welfare will meet 10 minutes after the fall of the gavel.
Senator from Essex Orleans.
Senate Ag will meet 15 minutes after adjournment.
Senator from Madison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Government Operations will meet at 1:30, please.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Finance will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Bennington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Education will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Chittenden South. Southeast. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs will continue meeting 10 minutes after the fall of the gavel.
Or I should say the senator who lives in the western part, of Senate Chittenden Southeast District. Senator from Bennington.
I thought you asked for the senator from Southwest someplace.
Sure, the southwest corner of the state. What the heck?
Judiciary will meet at 10:30. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Essex Orleans.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate institutions will meet today at 1.
Senator from Addison.
Senate Natural Resources and Energy will meet at 10:30.
Senator from Grand Isle, Chittenden.
President, Transportation will meet at 10:30.
Senator from Windsor, excuse me.
Good morning. Thank you. It's great to see you all. Happy 2024 session. The Senate Democratic Caucus will be at 12:15 in the lounge. And I look forward to seeing you. I think the connection, the web connection is on the website. Need to double check. It will be next week for our normal Tuesday meetings at 12:15. But today, 12:15 in the lounge. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, the senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate do now adjourn until Thursday, January 4th at 1 p.m. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until Thursday, January 4th at 1 p.m.